Okay, so let's talk about the review. First of all, the review is up on eClass. It's also on WebAssign. You can do either one of them. Let me tell you about the format for the test. You will not need a graphing calculator or any of its capabilities on this test. I've written the test questions so that those of you who have been doing all of this on your computers, you won't need your computers. You also will not need a graphing calculator for this test. It is completely conceptual in nature. There will be a little bit of addition and multiplication on the test, but everything that you can do with just a regular calculator. So you don't need any of the statistics stuff that your TI-83, TI-84 will do. If you look at the review, the handout that you have here, your first question is going to be similar to this one. The difference is that I have given you ordered data values, and I'm actually only going to be asking you to make the histogram for it. I will have you find the median, I will have you find the mode, the 5-number summary, all of that you can do by hand relatively easily. You will not need to find the mean or the standard deviation for that first question. I'll have a different question with that. You will also not need to find the variance for that one. So that first question is just going to have the median, the mode, the 5-number summary, and the histogram, and the box and whisker plot. That's all from that first question. No mean, no standard deviation from it. Then I will have another question after that, and it's going to be similar to, if you look at number 12 on the back page, it's going to be similar to number 12. Find the mean and standard deviation if I change the data set a little bit. And so we had this actually on homework, it was on one of our homework assignments, a question just like this. Can you find the mean and standard deviation? What happens to the mean of a data set if you just add 5 to your data set? Add 5 to the mean, you'll get the new mean. So if I give you the old mean and I tell you to shift the data set, you're just going to add that value to the new mean. What happens to the standard deviation? Stays the same, so you just write it down. So that's going to be on the test question like that. That's your questions dealing with the mean and standard deviation. Then, I think I asked you about the basic definition of the mean. If I give you a data set, what is your formula to find the mean? Add all your data values together, divide by the number of data values. So sum of the data values divided by your data values. Know the formula for the mean? That is also on there. Then that's the first part of what we did in chapter 2. What we did in, chapter 2 and 3. What we did in chapter 4 is dealing with probabilities, so the rest of the test is dealing with probabilities. And they look very similar to the rest of the questions here. You're going to have hats, balls, or an urn, a ball, whatever it is, and it's talking about, can you list the sample space in there? If you're drawing 2 balls out, what is your sample space? So you're going to have to list that. The next one would be, can you find probabilities? If it's with replacement and if it's without replacement. So probabilities with replacement or without replacement. That's like number 4 and number 5. Number 5 is with replacement, number 4 is without replacement. That's the difference on those two. It's going to be very similar. In fact, the questions will be identically worded except for that one phrase, with replacement and without replacement. So if you look at a question on the test and it looks the same as the next question, double check for that with replacement and without replacement. They're going to be the same question. You will get different answers for it, other than that. And then you're going to be drawing a single ball out, and it's going to be or question. So it's a probability of getting a red or a blue or something like that. So here again, it's on a single draw. You're counting, you're adding your possibilities together, dividing by the total. And then you have one like number 7. I'm going to give you a table, and you have to read the information from the table. This is like the stuff that we did last time from 4.3, where we talked about given, if I say male given BS, then you're in the BS column, and you're looking for the male, and then you divide by the total of the column that you're given, that type of thing. Probability of and, the probability of or is where you're adding the values up from the table. So you're going to have a question like number 7 on the test. 8, 9, and 10 are dealing with the multiplication rule. Number 8 is just finding the total number of heads, tails combinations that you have, and that would just be, you have 2 options, heads or tails, raised to the number of times you're flipping your coin. So if you flipped your coin 100 times, it would be 2 raised to the 100. If you flip a dice 100 times, it would be 6 raised to 100, because you have 6 options for each roll. So it's the number of options raised to the number of times you do the experiment. That would be like number 8. The difference between 9 and 10 is whether there's order involved or not. So if you look at number 9, it says Duffy Business Consultants needs to send a team of 2 people to receive training for a new software package. There are 9 people employed by Duffy Business Consultants. How many different groups of 2 are there? Permutations or combinations? Combinations. Order doesn't matter. How about number 10? A president and vice president must be chosen from a group of 9 people. We will view a slate of officers as a list of 2 people, with president listed first and the vice president listed last. How many different slates are there? Permutations and combinations? Permutations. Now, the way you're going to answer these without actually calculating them on your calculator is you're just going to write down what the formula would be. Do you use permutations? Do you use combinations? That's what I'm looking for. And then, yeah, we talked about 11 and 12. Oh, the extra credit. Please do this ahead of time. I've chosen this semester to give you guys extra credit questions dealing with our basic beliefs. So, fundamental beliefs. Seventh-day Adventists believe that Saturday is the Sabbath. Write a short paragraph using 2 to 3 different Bible references to support this belief. However you want to do it. Keep it short, keep it simple. I do not want pages upon pages. There are 70 of you in this class. I'm reading 70 of these. I would like to be able to read them all in about 10 minutes. That means I want it short, I want it simple. 2 to 3 sentences. I don't want an epistle. This is not an, yes, if you want to type it up, that's more than fine. I don't care. Can be typed, can be handwritten, not specifying that. Yeah. Do what? I still can't drink. I have to talk loud. Oh, I hadn't heard that term before.
No, Jude, like the
Oh, yeah, make it like the epistle Jude. Yeah, except shorter than that. We're talking 1 or 2, 3 sentences maximum. 2 to 3 verses. Yeah.
So things like for number 9, for number 10, we can literally just write 9 C2. Yes. And then, is this the same conclusion that's all on the website?
Yeah, the fonts are going to be different than the same places. Yeah, because they changed the numbers on the website and the stories are all different. But this information is yes. Yeah, you're going to turn it into okay, any other questions about the review? Given that upon the most frequently asked question, do you have to do the review? The answer is no, you do not. I'm not going to pick it up. It's never going to be counted towards credit. But if I took the time to tell you exactly what's going to be on the test, I expect you to take the time to study it. I'm just changing the numbers. The scores will be a little bit different, but it's the exact same fun. Question?
How many points is the test?
The tests are always out of percentages, so I will convert it to essentially 100 points, and each column will have a different weight.
And how many points? Okay.
Yeah, and I think there are 3 or 4 tests over the semester. I forget how many. Yeah. Any other questions, Steve? Okay, so if you run into any questions about the review, you can always send me an email. I will answer your email, or give me a call, or come to my office. That's fine. Now, what you guys have all been waiting for. Question.
Do you have the key answer for today's review?
Yeah, it's on eClass. All the answers are on eClass. Yeah. Not to WebAssign, but to this one. WebAssign answers are on WebAssign. I just didn't print it out. I figure you guys can look it up. Okay, so for those of you who discovered, I guess about a third of you discovered that I had put something up and made the due date at 2 o'clock today. It wasn't supposed to be 2 o'clock. I've actually changed that to be, I believe, 10 o'clock tonight, because I want us to work on it in class. And if we finish it in class, then you can turn it in. But I realize some of you do not have laptop computers and cannot actually do it in class. I still want you to watch the process that we're going to be going through to do this, so that you can do it later on at home, and then upload your files. Now, when you're making your files, you have the option of giving me one file for each set of the data. We have 3 different sets of data. We have the set of data for the females, a set of data for males, and the combined set of data. We're looking at all 3 of those. If you need to turn them into me as 3 separate files, you can upload 3 separate files to the e-class. If you want to turn them in all in one file, that's just fine too. However you need to turn it in, you can upload up to 3 files on this for e-class. Now, I have chosen to do this using a package called PSPP. I have PSPP downloaded on my computer, but if you want to go to PSPP and download it, you can. This is a GNU released version of SPSS. It's a mimic of SPSS that is open source. It costs you absolutely nothing to download it. It works on both Mac and Windows, so you can download it on your computers. What I'm going to do is show you how to do this on PSPP, and then let you do it on your computers yourself. You do not have to use PSPP if you don't want to, but I'm pretty sure you don't want to type in your list of data into your calculators because you have 100 of them, or well, close to 100. I only had 63 submissions from students, so you get to fill out the rest. Get 30 more, you're going to have 93, essentially, close to 100 submissions. You only have to get 30 more data points yourself. Combine that, you should have more than 90 data values in your set. Now, assuming you downloaded this, let me show you which one you're going to get. I'm sure you can read this, but you are going to come down. I did the Windows installers over here. Just do the installers, and you can do your Mac if you're using OS X. It doesn't matter which one you use, get the right one for your computer. Once I have this installed, let me start mine up. Here's what the PSPP looks like. If you download those data files that I've posted on eClass, these are the data files in PSPP. If you download them, you can open them, and they have .sav. That's the file format that PSPP is looking for the data in. So I could go open those, and I'm just going to go get those out of my drive right now. Okay, so if I look at the combined data set, just double click it, it's going to pop it open in PSPP. Notice that I have my data already set up like this. I've already done this for you. All you have to do is add your data values to it. So you can go down here to the end of the data, and you're just going to click here. This is the arm length and the height, and you're just going to keep on adding your data values until you get down to about 90 of them. Round this to the nearest centimeter. Once you have all your data values, notice that I have a blank row down here. You have to hit enter after your last data value so you get to this blank row. If you don't, it doesn't count that last set of data. So you want that blank row right there for your data values. Now, it just takes 3 clicks of a button to get the information from here. For the, let me show you. You go to Analyze here. You go to Descriptive Statistics, go to Frequencies. I put this up here so everyone can see it. Now you have to tell it what variables you want it to do, and I'm going to want it to do both variables. So I'm going to move them both over there, and it will do them in separate histograms, but for both variables. So you'll have a histogram for arm length, you'll have a histogram for height. Now the statistics here, it didn't catch. If I scroll up and down, you'll see that you can ask for a median, you could ask for a standard error, there's a mode, let's get the mode, that would be good to know. We can actually get the range. We don't need a standard error, we don't need a variance. Maximum and minimums, mean and standard deviation. That's all the information that we would like to know about our data. It's going to calculate it all. We need to tell it that we actually do want it to draw the histogram. So click on charts, go over and click on histogram, click continue, and then you can go okay. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop up another window right there with all the output on it. So notice this output right here this is giving me the values for the arm length. This gives you the information. You have a mean, you have a mode, a standard deviation, the range, the minimum, and if I scroll down here, it gave me the maximum. And it gave you the median, which it said was 50. The only things it has not given you is Q1 and Q3. You can split your data in half and have it calculate the median for you on that, and that gives you Q1, and then the other half gets you Q3, and you can sketch your box and whisker plot from that. So this gives you all the information. Notice that this is our histogram. If you're looking at it, it's sort of bell-shaped, maybe a little bit more skewed to the left than to the right, but it's sort of bell-shaped, which is actually good news to us. Approximately bell-shaped is very good news for us. That means we can do a lot more tests with it. And then here starts the height information. And there's the histogram for the height on it. And this saves it as one file. I can actually print this to a PDF just from the file output right here. So I can go to File, and I can do Export, and it gives you the option of what to export it as. Takes it a minute. Let me see if it popped it up in a different screen. No, it didn't. Oh, it's thinking. It's grayed out. But that's how you're going to do this if you haven't found a different software that you like better. This is the one I've tried a few of them. Excel is a pain to make histograms on. That's why I've gone away from using Excel. The reason for that is Excel, you have to force it to put the bars beside each other. Make sure whatever you're choosing to make your histogram is not giving you a bar chart. A bar chart has spaces between the bars. A histogram, the bars have to touch. If they're not touching, it's not a histogram. Question?
So we have to install this software in order to access this?
Yeah.
How do we install it? Because like when we click on the link, especially like for the maps, it doesn't look like anything. It's not very clear.
Okay, let me stop the recorder and I'll come over and look at that. Can everybody do that? Does that make sense? Are there any questions that I need to address before I stop the recorder? Yeah.
What if you wanted to use Excel and then you just made a histogram on like another site that would just easily make it for you?
You can do that too if you want to use. I'm not saying you have to use this software. I'm saying this is something that you can use. You can use any software you want, but make sure that it puts the histogram bars touching. Any software of your choice, other than
How do you distinguish the gender?
How did I distinguish it? I literally copied and pasted and split them apart from the data that you guys gave me. So I dumped it into an Excel file, sorted it on gender, and then cut it in half. Took the female into one file and the male into another. You can actually do that in PSPP, but I didn't figure out how. So separating yourself from the time. Yeah.
How do we go about making the box whisker?
The box and whisker plot, it doesn't generate that, but it generates the information you need to make the box and whisker. Then you just sketch it yourself. Yeah, you can turn it in or you can scan it and turn it on your file. Keep everything digital because we're actually going to use that information in a little bit. Someone came in here and showed me a file before class started that had box and whisker plots on it. Who has done, okay, what did you use for box and whisker plots?
Like a box and whisker plot maker online. I just looked up like free box and whisker plot maker.
Okay, so Google a box and whisker plot maker and see if you can find one online. Otherwise, draw it by hand, make it look pretty, take a picture of it, and upload it as a data file, as a PDF. Save it as a PDF. Yeah. Okay, let me stop this, and then if you're having problems with your computers, let me know. Oh, it finally popped up the save as thing. Let me stop the recorder.